Town Hall, Seattle, KIRO Radio and Seattle Radio Theater present Hollywood. Lever Brothers Company, the makers of Lux Soap, KIRO Radio and Town Hall, Seattle bring you Seattle Radio Theater starring Dave Ross, Dory Monson, and Ursula Reutin in The Bishop's Wife. Greetings from historic University Temple. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here on the edge of the University of Washington campus in Seattle, and this is our Christmas present to you. It's one of the most delightful holiday stories ever told, The Bishop's Wife. And our stars tonight include some of the most beloved performers, with Dave Ross playing the role of Dudley the Angel, Dory Monson playing the Bishop, and Ursula Reutin playing his wife. And our story begins late one afternoon in December in a rather shabby section of a large city. Two old friends have an unexpected meeting.
Julia, what a wonderful surprise!
Professor Wutheridge, what are you doing here?
I'm about to negotiate the purchase of a Christmas tree.
I didn't know you celebrated Christmas.
I don't, but I like a Christmas tree. It reminds me of my childhood. Tell me, how's Henry?
Tired and so worried.
Raising money for the new cathedral, eh?
More work, Professor. And you? How's your book coming along?
Oh, splendidly, splendidly. Greatest history of Rome since Gibbon.
Oh, I'm sorry, Professor, but I must hurry along. The cathedral committee is meeting with Henry, and I really should be there.
Well, one of these days we'll have time for a nice talk again. Oh, here, for Henry's cathedral fund.
This coin?
It has very little value, I'm afraid, just an old Roman coin. I picked it up years ago in Italy.
No, it's a wonderful contribution.
Nonsense, it's... Julia, what's the matter?
Nothing. Oh, if Henry and I could only spend Christmas back here, well, we were so happy with you and all our old friends.
Oh, now.
I'm so sorry. That was really very childish of me. Goodbye, Professor.
Goodbye, my dear.
Why, Professor. Oh, good to see you again.
Who are you?
Well, you look after all these years. You don't remember me?
Let's see, it wasn't Vienna, was it?
Vienna. Beautiful old Vienna.
Oh, when I was lecturing on Roman history.
What splendid lectures they were. And what a one you were with the ladies.
Oh, fancy you remembering that.
I've been standing on the corner watching you, Professor. You and Julia.
Oh, do you know Julia?
In a way, yes.
Poor girl.
Why? She's unhappy?
Yes. When were you in Vienna?
Oh, many times. I'm interested in Julia, Professor, and in Henry. What seems to be their trouble?
Oh, no special trouble, I imagine. Henry's a bishop now.
Oh, yes.
That used to be his church, over there.
St. Timothy's.
Yes, perishing from neglect.
Such a nice little church. Well, delighted to have seen you again, Professor.
Yes. Strange. Unless I've completely lost my memory, I've never seen that fellow in my life.
Julia?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I'm so late, Henry. Has everyone gone?
Yes, dear, some time ago.
Another argument, Henry?
Either we build a cathedral the way Mrs. Hamilton wants it, or it won't be built at all.
You didn't give in to her.
Indeed not. I had the most unchristian impulse to take those blueprints and give her a good whack over her mink coat.
Beg your pardon, Bishop?
Yes, Miss Castaway.
Mr. Trevor's on the phone.
Oh, tell him the bishop will call him back.
Yes, Miss
please,
Brown.
after dinner. Henry, what has happened to you? To us? To our marriage?
Well, that is a strange question to ask.
We used to be so happy. We used to make other people happy. Oh, Henry, that was your gift. You're no financier. You're not a promoter.
Julia, I want this cathedral. I want its light to shine. I want...
Yes, Henry. Oh, here's a contribution that I collected.
What is it?
It's an old Roman coin from Professor Wuthridge.
What does he think I can do with it?
Well, it is a beginning. Now all you need is another $4 million.
Julia, please don't be flippant about this. Look, if dinner's ready, let's have it over with. I have a lot of work to do tonight.
The soup is very good, Matilda.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Brom.
Julia, I was thinking, tomorrow perhaps, we could just spend the day together.
Oh, Henry.
Call on the professor, maybe. Have lunch at Michelle's.
Michelle's. It has been years since we've been there.
Please forgive me.
Yes, Miss Castaway.
Mr. Trevor simply insists upon talking to you.
Julia!
Well, he is on the cathedral committee, isn't he? Oh, go ahead, dear. You better talk to him.
Very well, Miss Trevor. I'll be there. 10:30 tomorrow morning. Good night. Well, you may as well just go home now, Miss Castaway.
Oh, but there's still a great deal of work to do, sir.
Now, you're a secretary, not a machine. Now, run along.
Oh, thank you. Don't forget you have a speech to make tomorrow, the junior assembly.
Oh, no. What time?
It's a luncheon meeting, 1 o'clock. Good night, Bishop.
Good night, Miss Castaway. Oh, dear Lord, what am I to do? Can't you help me? Can't you tell me, please? Please help me.
Eh?
Good evening. What can I do for you?
Well, that isn't the question, Henry. The question is, what can I do for you?
Well, look, I'm afraid you must telephone for an appointment. I haven't even finished dinner.
I know that, Henry, but you asked for help, you know.
I asked? Who told you I asked for help?
Well, you're known to be a good man, and you were heard. I was instructed to come here and answer to your prayer.
Who are you?
I'm an angel.
I beg your pardon.
An angel.
An angel.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it. I have been working way too hard.
Yes.
And I...
Don't be alarmed. I know it's hard to believe. Now, this is my district, you see, and I am...
Do you mind if I sit down?
Oh, please do. Now, let's see. You have some problems concerning the building of a new cathedral,
Yes.
Henry, don't you believe I am what I say I am?
How can I? I have nothing but your word for it.
Yes, but you are a bishop. You, of all people, can trust the word of an angel.
What are you going to do? Perform a miracle?
If necessary.
Well, why don't you just create a cathedral with the wave of your hand?
Oh, now, come. You wouldn't want me to do that. How would you explain it?
Well,
Henry, is anything wrong?
Oh, Julia.
Oh, I'm
How have
sorry.
you been? I'm Dudley. Henry is engaging me to help with his work.
Oh, do you mean you're going to be his assistant?
Not exactly. I'm going to help Henry to get some relaxation.
Oh, that is just what I've been praying for.
Oh, you too?
Oh, I'm so relieved, Henry. Where do you come from, Dudley?
Oh, all around.
Julia, this man claims
I've
that
been doing some social service work downtown.
Julia, if you don't mind, I must talk to this gentleman alone.
Oh, of course. I'll wait in the dining room. Good night.
Good night, Julia. See you in the morning.
In the morning?
Bright and early.
Are you quite sure you're an angel?
Well, I know it isn't easy, Henry, but you've just got to take me on faith.
Yeah, but for how long?
Until you can utter another prayer and say that you have no further need of me. Julia's waiting, Henry.
Yes, I know, but I still don't understand. Dudley? Dudley? Dudley! Where are you, Dudley?
Henry, what is the rest of Dudley's name?
I don't know.
Henry, you look pale. And you're trembling.
Yes, and a lesser man would quiver.
Oh, you're gonna feel better after you've eaten. And Matilda has baked your favorite dessert, dear. Angel food cake.
Good morning, Henry. Well, here I am, completely at your service.
Dudley, I did not sleep 20 minutes last night. I am in a highly nervous condition.
Well then, the first thing we'll have to do... Oh, good morning, Julia.
Good morning, Dudley. It's a lovely day.
Lovely.
Henry and I are going out together.
Oh, Julia, I'm terribly sorry. We can't. I've got to see Mr. Trevor at 10:30, and after that, there's the junior assembly.
But you promised, Henry. Couldn't Dudley represent you at those meetings?
Yes, couldn't I?
That is out of the question.
Oh?
Dudley, I'd like to speak to my wife alone.
Well, of course.
In the hall, dear. Julia, you see, the trouble is that man, well, I can't really explain it, but
You don't have to try, Henry. It's the way it is. It's the way it's going to be. It always is. I'll just see you at dinner.
Dudley, what are you doing?
Just looking through your files, Henry. Oh, I see that Mrs. Hamilton has pledged $1 million for the cathedral fund, but she hasn't sent a check.
Never mind that file. That's work for a bookkeeper, not for an angel. Work for a bookkeeper.
Well, so you're beginning to believe in me, I think.
I don't know who you are or where you came from. I only wish that you would make haste.
Why? Because the cathedral must be built?
Obviously, that is the most important thing.
Or because Julia must be happy? It's going to be difficult to help you, Henry, unless I'm sure what it is you really want.
Yes, well, I'm afraid you'll have to excuse me. Mr. Trevor likes punctuality.
Well, you run along, Henry. This file is an awful mess. I'll reorganize it for you.
Well, I still think you're wasting your time on unimportant details.
Nothing is unimportant, Henry. Now remember, we're interested even in the lowliest sparrows.
Hello?
Oh, hello, Debbie. Come on in.
How'd you do that just now? All those cards in Daddy's file. You just waved your hand, and they all jumped out and jumped back in again.
Well, that's just my system of rearranging card files.
Do it again.
Some other time, okay, Debbie?
You're deadly, aren't you? Mummy says you're very nice.
Well, that's extremely kind of Mummy.
She says that maybe with you here, we'll get to see Daddy once in a while.
Yes, maybe we will.
Debbie, come along, dear.
Oh, are you two going out?
To the park. I'm going to play in the snow.
Bye,
Bye,
Debbie.
Dudley.
Bye, Debbie. Have a good time. Julia!
Dudley, what are you doing here?
You're mean out here in the park? Well, I often walk in the park. Debbie seems to be having a fine time over there.
Well, aren't you supposed to be working?
I always take a walk before lunch. It's relaxing, you know.
I wish you would convince Henry of that.
Speaking of lunch, Julia, I thought I'd go to Michelle's. Have you ever been there?
Michelle's?
Yes.
Oh, yes. We used to go there years ago.
Well, how about going there today?
You and I? To Michelle's? Oh, no, I couldn't.
Why not?
Well, I...
Surely you don't think Henry would mind.
Oh, no, it isn't that. It's, well, you see, I gave Matilda the day off to go Christmas shopping, so I'm looking after Debbie.
Oh, you gave Matilda the day off. Well, isn't that... Well, here's Matilda now.
Hello, Miss Brom.
Matilda!
Well, I just thought that, Miss Brom, if you wish, I might be able to take Debbie home.
But Matilda, you're shopping.
All finished. I finished so quick it was like magic.
The heck you say?
I thought that Debbie might want to go home with me and make some Christmas cookies.
Oh, I'm sure she would love to, but I...
Well then, Mrs. Brom, I'll just go get her.
Well then, Julia. To Michelle's?
Why, well, I think that would be very nice.
Good.
Dudley,
Yes.
just a minute ago, when you said you saw Matilda,
Yes.
oh, it's nonsense.
What's nonsense?
Well, you were looking the other way when you said you saw her.
I was.
I mean, I thought you were. Oh, how silly of me. Wait here, Dudley. I'll say goodbye to Debbie. I'm so glad you knew about Michelle's, Dudley. It's so nice to be back here again. Only, well, you seem to know so much. It makes me feel uncomfortable.
Well, in that case, I'm sorry I ever learned anything. You have memories of this place, don't you?
Well, it was in this restaurant that Henry asked me to marry him.
Yes, I know.
You know?
I mean, I know how you must feel. Well, now, there's a fortune teller over there. Would you care to have your palm read?
Oh, no, thank you. Would you?
No. I know too much about myself as it is.
And I know so little about myself.
Really? May I look at your hand?
Can you tell fortunes, too?
It's not too difficult.
Well, what do you see?
Well, I never noticed, Julia, but your eyes are green. And I see a great deal of happiness. I see a woman who is adored. I see a rich, full life.
Do you see Henry's new cathedral?
No, that's not very clear. There's a kind of fuzziness about that.
Well, how about Debbie?
Oh, no need to worry about that. She'll be just like you, Julia. She'll have youth and beauty no matter how old she lives to be.
But people do grow old.
No, not everybody. Only those who were born old to begin with. You, Julia, were born young, and you'll remain that way.
I wish I could believe you.
You may.
You haven't looked at my hand once. I just don't know what to think of you, Dudley, whether you're serious or you're joking.
Well, I'm at my most serious when I am joking.
Well, maybe you should... Oh no.
Now what?
That table over there. No, don't look.
Oh.
3 ladies, all on the cathedral committee, and they are simply glaring at me.
Really? Well, glare back.
They saw you holding my hand.
Oh, well then. If you'll excuse me, I'd better do something about that, hadn't I?
What did you do to them, Dudley? Now they're smiling at me and even waving.
Good. Smile and wave back. I didn't do anything to them. I just introduced myself, chatted a moment, and ordered a drink.
A drink? They took it?
Sure. Stingers. They're really very friendly, Julia. They'll probably drop by our table a little later.
Dudley, may I make an understatement?
Oh, please do.
You are a very unusual man.
I let you in on something, Julia. You're quite right.
In a few moments, we'll bring you Act 2 of The Bishop's Wife, live from University Temple. Now here's our Hollywood reporter, Libby Collins, to give us the Lux Radio Theater's movie news of the week.
Tonight, Mr. Maynard, it's a new Howard Hughes production, Vendetta, starring a lovely newcomer to Hollywood. She's Faith DeMarco, and she's been given just the role her dark, exotic beauty calls for. This RKO picture tells the story of a family feud in old-time Corsica, and Faith plays the girl who vows to avenge her father's murder.
Oh, well then, quite an intense melodrama, Libby. Now, isn't that a terrific set, though, that they built for the dueling scene?
Oh, yes, indeed, and no California landscape could quite convey the bleakness of that wild Corsican country, so they put the whole thing on a sound stage. Yes. Faith DeMarco was photographed in dark costumes throughout, of course. They set off her startling beauty all the more.
Well, there's a highly dramatic, exciting quality about her acting as well.
Well, yes, Mr. Menard, she is a perfectionist, you know, and she spent years of study before attempting her first screen role. And Mr. Maynard?
Yes.
Faith DeMarco was a perfectionist about exotic beauty, too. Naturally, her skin has to look soft and smooth in the close-ups. That's why she depends on daily facials with Lux soap. She says it's a care that really works.
Yes, well, Lux soap is just right to protect delicate skin, Libby. No wonder so many famous stars say they just wouldn't be without this gentle soap.
Oh, yes, Mr. Menard. Active leather does wonders for the skin. It's so easy to take a Lux soap facial, too. You just smooth the rich lather well in, rinse with warm water, follow with a quick cold rinse, and pat with a soft
Yes.
towel to dry. It works like a charm to give your complexion quick, new beauty.
Yes, pat away, Libby. Yes, there's a tip for smart women everywhere. For thorough protecting care, there's nothing finer than Lux soap. So when you see Faith DeMarco and Howard Hughes' exciting new picture, Vendetta, I want you to notice the smooth perfection of her skin. You want to try her daily active lather facial. So why not get Hollywood's own beauty soap tomorrow? And remember, 9 out of 10 screen stars use fragrant, white Lux soap. And now, Act 2 of The Bishop's Wife, starring Dave Ross, Dory Monson, and Ursula Reutin, live from University Temple in Seattle. It's not every day that one can have lunch with a full-fledged angel. And Julia is very happy not knowing, of course, who Dudley really is. Well, they're walking home now, and who should they meet on the street but Julia's old friend, Professor Wuthridge.
Julia, what wonderful luck meeting you again. But, hey, this man, are you with him?
Well, yes, of course, Dudley. This is Professor Wuthridge.
Oh, go on. The professor knows me well. The university in Vienna.
Young man, I don't believe you've ever been near Vienna.
Well, you know, that's a game we play, Julia. He always pretends he's never seen me before.
Dudley is Henry's new assistant.
You really know this fellow?
Well, of course I do.
Well, in that case, how about dropping by my humble diggings for a bit of Yuletide cheer?
Oh, I would love to, but only for a moment.
Come along, Dudley. It's just around the corner. Ah, just enough left in the bottle. There's your glass, Dudley. We'll drink to Julia, to a charming lady.
Ah, to a charming lady.
Ah, you've noticed.
Yes, isn't it more remarkable that you have?
Well, when you want to know about a woman, ask an old man or a senator. They know.
Now, when are you going to show us your new book?
My book? Never.
Oh, please.
You say you're writing a book?
You didn't know?
You didn't tell me.
I described the book in detail in the course of those lectures I gave in Vienna, Julia. I am now certain this fellow is an imposter.
Oh, you mean that book? I thought you'd finished that one years ago.
No, I haven't written a word of it. Not one word.
But why not?
Because I can't think of anything original to say. I never could find the right words, either to tell a pretty girl or write a book.
Not even when you had this coin to inspire you?
Why, that's the coin that you gave to Henry, Professor.
I borrowed it from Henry's desk.
You've wasted your time, sir. It's worthless.
On the contrary, Professor. Now, this coin is one of the rarest of all antiquities.
Oh, really?
Only 100 of these coins were minted by Julius Caesar 2,000 years ago. That was when Cleopatra visited Rome. Presumably, these coins were used to pay her hotel bill.
Why, that's amazing.
Nobody knows about it except, well, Caesar's wife knew about it. And she had the coins destroyed. But this one she overlooked. It's an unwritten chapter in history, and you, Professor, will write it.
Say, do you know any more stories like that?
Any number of them.
Well, you're a curious fellow, Dudley. Where do you come from?
Well, what if I told you I came from another planet? Would you believe me?
I doubt it.
I would believe you, Dudley.
Yes, and you'd be right, Julia. We all come from our own little planets. That's why we're all different. That's what makes life interesting.
Well, it's getting late. I must be leaving, really.
Sorry, Professor.
Yes, if my wine bottle wasn't empty, we could say goodbye with another drink.
Empty?
Well, yes, I barely had enough for... Good God! The bottle! It's half full!
Well, you save it for next time. Professor.
I'm really getting old when I can't see what's inside a wine bottle. Dudley?
Yes, my friend.
There is one thing that's troubling me greatly.
What's that?
Well, to write a history is a tremendous task. I wonder, will I have time to finish it?
You'll finish it. You'll have time.
I don't know why I ask you that question. How would you know? But you see, for some time now, every time I pass the cemetery, I felt as if I were apartment hunting. And of course, these days, even the sextons want first, last, and deposit.
Well, goodbye, Professor. Come and see us, please.
I will. Goodbye, and God bless you both.
Thank you, Professor. I'll pass that recommendation along.
Henry!
I'm in the study, Julia.
Oh, I'm so sorry I'm so late, dear.
Hello, Henry.
Hello, Dudley.
Oh, we have had the most marvelous time. I wish you could have been with us.
Yes, I wish I had too.
Is Debbie asleep yet?
No, she is waiting to see you.
Oh, good. I'll go right up.
I trust you spent a profitable afternoon, Dudley?
Oh, yes. Did you have a profitable afternoon, Henry?
Not very. Dudley, I'd like to speak to you for a moment.
Certainly. Shoot.
You'll excuse me if I lock the door. I'd rather not be interrupted. Dudley.
Yes, Henry.
Can you prove to me you're an angel?
Prove? You mean a document? Now, surely, you of all people should know that angels need no passports. Even with a travel ban, they can't keep us away.
I would be a lot happier if I could see you perform a miracle.
Of what kind?
Make this desk rise up and fly around the room.
Oh, now, Henry, cut it out. Henry, please, I didn't come here to do tricks. I'm surprised at you.
Well, I don't believe you're an angel at all. I think you're a demon right
Stop,
out of...
Henry, now don't say a word like that.
Well, anyway, now you know how I feel.
Yes.
Now, wait a minute, Dudley. I'm not through yet. There's the door. I locked that door. He just opened it and walked out. Dudley! Wait a minute, Dudley! Now it's locked again. Dudley!
Oh, he went upstairs, dear, to say goodnight to Debbie.
Oh?
Is anything wrong?
No, nothing's wrong. You look very well, Julia. Very bright and gay.
Oh, I feel gay, Henry.
I do think you're an excellent wife, Julia.
Why, thank you.
And I'm very proud of you.
Well, thank you again, dear.
Do you think I'm an excellent husband?
Of course, dear. Henry, I hope you're going to be able to take things easier now with Dudley here. I do think he is very able.
Oh, you do?
Yes, he knows so many things.
What, for instance?
Well, you should have seen him this afternoon. We met Professor Wutheridge. Why, Dudley knows even more about history than he does.
Yeah, he should. He's been at it longer.
What?
Nothing, dear, nothing. I'll go up and say goodnight to Debbie.
But don't you know any more stories, Mr. Dudley?
Oh, I know hundreds of stories, Debbie.
For instance?
Well, let me see. I know a story that happened many years ago. It was about a shepherd boy named David who lived in a town called Bethlehem.
That's where the star was.
That's right. But David lived long before the star. Well, one night, this David was out in the hills tending the sheep when an angel came down and spoke to him.
But how did David know he was an angel?
Oh, he didn't know. That's the way it always is. The angels come down and put ideas into people's heads. And then the people feel very proud of themselves because they think it was all their own idea.
Gee.
Anyway, this angel spoke to David and told him that one of his lambs had strayed and... Oh, come in, Henry. I think you can do a better job telling Debbie the rest of this story.
Some other time.
Good night, Daddy.
Good night, Debbie. Well, if you're ready, Dudley, so is dinner.
Well, thank you, Henry. Thank you.
Right after dinner, Henry, we'll get a taxi and go down to St. Timothy's.
St. Timothy's tonight?
Well, of course, dear. The choir's rehearsing for the benefit they're giving. Henry, you promised Mr. Miller.
Julia, I telephoned Mrs. Hamilton. I apologized to her for some of the things I said. I had to. She said I may call on her tonight.
But the rehearsal is just for you, dear.
$1 million from Mrs. Hamilton, dear, is far more important.
But you are his bishop, Henry, and I just don't like going alone.
My evening seems quite free, Henry.
No, definitely not.
I was just about to suggest that I see Mrs. Hamilton and you take Julia to St. Timothy's.
You and Mrs. Hamilton? No.
Just a suggestion.
Oh, Dudley, would you mind very much going with me?
Julia!
Well, Henry? Yes?
Yeah, I guess that would be a very good solution. Thank you, Dudley.
You're welcome, Henry.
Mrs. Brome, I'm delighted to see you.
Oh, Mr. Miller, this is Mr. Dudley, the bishop's new assistant.
Why, Mr. Dudley, this is a pleasure.
No, thank you, Mr. Miller. The bishop will try to get here later. Something important came up.
He didn't want to delay rehearsal.
Mrs. Brome, I'm terribly embarrassed, but only two of the boys have come. It's just too difficult trying to compete with basketball and Christmas.
Well, I wouldn't worry, Mr. Miller. They'll all show up. How are you, boys?
Hi.
What do you sing?
Me?
Yes, you.
I'm soprano.
Are you any good?
I doubt it.
Well, how about singing for us?
You mean alone?
Oh, well, you've got Rupert with you. Hi, Rupert. Hello. Well, what do you say?
It's okay by me.
Okay. I'll start you off at the piano.
Away in a manger, no crib for a bed.
Thank you, Rupert.
The little Lord Jesus laid down his sweet head. The stars in the sky looked down where he lay. The little Lord Jesus asleep on the hay.
Oh, Mrs. Brome, look, all the boys are here now.
Why, yes! Maybe basketball isn't so important after all.
You should be proud of them, Mr. Miller. They sing beautifully.
Yes, they never sang so well, never.
Oh, if Henry could only hear this. They're singing like angels.
Better than angels, believe me.
I'm very glad to see you've come to your senses, Bishop Brome. You needn't make any further apologies.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Hamilton. And in view of your generosity, the George B. Hamilton Memorial Chapel shall be located wherever you specify in the new cathedral.
And there's one more thing, the window depicting St. George and the dragon.
Yes?
I should very much like the countenance of St. George to resemble my late husband.
Why, of course, Mrs. Hamilton. And whom do you see as the dragon?
Dragon? Any old dragon.
Thank you so much. Now, if you'll excuse me, Julia's waiting for me at St. Timothy's, and well, that's strange.
Is anything the matter?
It's this chair. I can't get up. It's stuck to my... I'm stuck to it.
Stuck to the chair?
Yes, it doesn't seem quite right, does it?
Stevens?
Yes, madam?
There's something wrong with the bishop's chair.
Oh, madam, it must be the new varnish. The furniture people should have warned us.
I do hope I'm not harming your chair.
Oh, this is preposterous.
Awkward situation, isn't it? Perhaps if you gave me a little pull at the back, Stevens?
Yes, sir.
Again, please.
Your trousers, sir. I'm afraid if we pull any harder...
Mrs. Hamilton, might I use your telephone?
Wait, yes, of course. It's right over there. Can you walk?
After a fashion.
That chair, madam, it clings to him like a brother.
Well, do something, Stevens. Call the shop. Get the plumber.
Hello, Matilda. This is Bishop Brougham. I'm at Mrs. Hamilton's. I want you to come here at once with another pair of trousers. Well, what difference does it make? Just bring me another pair of trousers. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so sorry this has happened.
Oh, if I could only get in touch with Julia or Dudley, Dudley! This is all his doing! Dudley!
Now, Bishop, don't be nervous. Have a chair.
Thank you, Mrs. Hamilton. I have one.
I can't imagine what happened to Henry. He was so sure he would meet us here.
Well, I suppose he's detained at Mrs. Hamilton's.
Of course. You know, Dudley, it is a strange thing. You seem to be able to make me feel as if everything is going to be all right.
Oh, everything could be all right for everyone if people would only learn to behave like human beings.
Well, it is a lovely night, isn't it? Oh, driver, could you take us through the park, please?
Ah, geez, that's out of your way, lady.
You're getting bored with us, driver?
Oh, no. I'd drive you by way of Mexico City if you want me to. That's the trouble with this country. Too many people who don't know where they're going, and they want to get there too fast. Now, you two, I'd call you two very unusual people.
Thank you. You're very perceptive.
Hey, you crazy or something? Watch where you're going.
Oh, that was so close.
Did you see the way I just missed that truck? But it's a miracle.
Yes, I know. Just don't overplay your hand.
Hey, look, there's ice skating over there.
So they are. Julia, we're going ice skating.
Oh, no, we mustn't. It's too late. We couldn't. You really think we could?
You can stop here, driver. We're going ice skating. Oh, and you too. What an evening. Well, this is it, Sylvester. What do we owe you?
Not a cent, my friend. You want to know why? Because you and the little lady here have restored my faith in human nature. Well, good night, Dudley. Good night, Julia.
Good night, Sylvester.
That Sylvester is a noble soul. His children and his children's children will rise up and call him blessed. In fact, I can imagine a world where one day friendly people will just show up and drive you around in their own car without any cash or any money of any kind changing hands.
This has been the most wonderful evening I've had in years.
It's the most wonderful evening I've had in centuries. You're a beautiful skater, Julia. In fact, you're just plain beautiful.
Well, I see you've come home.
Hello, Henry.
I thought you were going to meet us at St. Timothy's, dear.
Julia, it's almost 10 o'clock.
Oh, you are never going to guess, Henry. We have been ice skating.
Ice skating?
You should have seen Dudley. He is absolutely marvelous, Henry. And those boys at St. Timothy's, the way they sang, it was simply heavenly.
Oh, yes, I'm sure it was.
Did you have a successful meeting with Mrs. Hamilton, Henry?
Yes, quite satisfactory, thank you.
Good. I'll be back down in a moment. Henry.
Dudley?
Yes, Henry.
Whatever went on these last few hours, there's one thing I'm sure of. Julia is absolutely blameless.
Of course she is.
But you deliberately stopped me from joining you and Julia by the seat of my pants.
Well, now, Julia had a very good time.
But I did not.
Now, Henry, if you had sent me to represent you with Mrs. Hamilton, I would have gone. You didn't, so I represented you with your wife.
Is that part of the normal duties of an angel?
Sometimes, Henry. Angels must rush in where fools fear to tread.
I haven't the faintest idea what that means. And I don't want it explained to me. In any event, you can go now, Dudley. I've solved my problem. Mrs. Hamilton is giving me the money.
Well, now, that was a foregone conclusion, providing you were willing to make a slight sacrifice of your principles.
Well, don't you think it's worth it for this glorious edifice?
I'm not so sure of its glory at a time like this. You know, these are rather lean years for the world, Henry. So many people need food. So many need shelter. Now, that cathedral's big roof could make so many little roofs instead.
Look, I'm dealing with a materialistic, selfish woman. She wouldn't listen to talk like that.
Did you try?
You came here so that I could have a cathedral. Well, I have a cathedral, and I want you to get out of my house and out of my life and away from Julia.
Suppose you pray for that, Henry. After all, it was your prayer that brought me here.
Very well, I pray it, so there.
Oh, Henry, come on. I'm afraid that's no prayer.
That was right from my heart. I want you to go.
Well, Julia doesn't.
Don't you mention Julia. Now get out, Dudley. Get out.
Henry, Julia's about to come down those stairs. Don't let her see you like this, Henry. Try to calm yourself.
Dudley?
He's gone.
Oh, Debbie's awake. She wants to say goodnight to him.
I just told you Dudley is gone.
But why did he leave so suddenly?
Because I got rid of him. I told him to go away. I fired him.
Why?
Because he's incompetent. Because he's no good at his job, and I cannot stand the sight of him.
Henry!
Believe me, Julia, I know what I'm doing.
In a few moments, Act 3 of The Bishop's Wife, live on KIRO Radio from University Temple in Seattle. First, I'd like you to meet our guest for tonight, Paula Stone, writer-producer for MGM Radio Attractions, and she'll bring us news of the world premiere in Hollywood last Wednesday of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's great picture, The Magnificent Yankee. As commentator of the premiere, you interviewed the many stars who attended, did you not, Miss Stone?
Yes, I did, Mr. Maynard. It was one of the most thrilling evenings I've experienced. Over 100 stars were there.
Yes, to cheer for Lewis Calhern and Ann Harding, I presume.
Oh, yes. Everyone was so enthusiastic about the picture and the superb performance turned in by Lewis Calhern and Justice Holmes and Ann Harding as his devoted wife.
Yes, well, there's a picture as rousing as a brass band. The distinguished career of one of the greatest men presented in the authentic atmosphere of our nation's capital. You know, you can actually feel the march of stirring events.
It's an exciting treatment of our recent history, but also a beautiful love story.
Ah, yes. The deep attachment of Justice Holmes for his wife, that's something to warm the heart. Ann Harding, she brings dignity, she brings beauty to her role in The Magnificent Yankee.
And she's completely charming and very lovely, too. Of course, you might expect, like so many famous stars I interview from time to time, she gives credit to Lux Care for her skin and keeping it just right for the cameras.
Well, after all, Miss Stone, it's Hollywood's own beauty soap, you know.
Oh, yes, Mr. Maynard. And Lux soap in the big bath size, just as popular. I know I wouldn't be without it. There's nothing more luxurious after a busy day than refreshing Lux soap bath.
Oh, yes, there is something special about the lather. Rich, creamy, even in the hardest water.
Yes, it leaves the skin really fresh and fragrant, too, with a nice, delicate perfume.
Well, no wonder screen stars prefer the satin smooth bath cake. And thank you, Ms. Paula Stone, for being here tonight. Now here's a shopping hint for the ladies on our audience. Get the generous bath-size Lux soap tomorrow. Enjoy its luxurious lather, delightful perfume, and you'll discover why screen stars say it makes you sure of all over Lux loveliness. 9 out of 10 famous Hollywood stars use fragrant white Lux soap. We pause now for station identification. This is KIRO Radio 97.3 FM Seattle. And the curtain rises on Act 3 of The Bishop's Wife. Live from University Temple in Seattle, 2 days have passed since Dudley's disapproval, much to the relief of Bishop Henry Brome. And now it's early evening. It's Christmas Eve.
Here's a list of your calls, Bishop, ending at Miss Hamilton's. Here's your coat, and there's a taxi waiting for you outside.
Thank you, Miss Castaway. Oh, if you're through typing my sermon before I'm back, just leave the copies on my desk.
Yes, sir. Bishop Brome, still no word from Mr. Dudley?
Miss Castaway, I discharged Mr. Dudley. There's no reason at all to hear from him.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you don't mind, please tell Mrs. Brome the taxi's waiting.
I'm ready and waiting, dear.
Oh, good. Here's our list of calls.
I thought we could go to the Wilsons first, Henry, then to the Vanders.
Julia! Hey, how are you, Julia?
Well, Sylvester, what are you doing here?
Well, when the call came in for the cab, I sure hightailed it over here. I was hoping maybe there'd be another skating party. Hey, where's Dudley?
I don't know.
Look, you got a preacher with you.
Yes, this is...
Don't tell me. A wedding? You and Dudley?
Sylvester, this is my husband, Bishop Brome.
How do you do? Oh. And now, if you don't mind, we would like to go to North Maple Street by taxi cab, Sylvester, not ice skates.
Good evening, Miss Castaway.
Mr. Dudley, how nice to see you again.
Thank you.
We've been so worried about you, and poor Miss Brome. Have I seen you? Have I heard from you?
Yes. Where is she?
Well, she and the bishop are making Christmas calls. They go to St. Timothy's for the midnight service.
Oh, that's right. It's Christmas Eve. Well, you should be home, Miss Castaway.
I'm typing the bishop's sermon.
Oh. Well, I'll type that for you.
No. The bishop told me to do that.
You should be with your family.
Well, if you really... Oh, thank you, Mr. Dudley.
Merry Christmas, Mildred.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Dudley.
Well, let's take a look at this. Henry's Christmas sermon. A new cathedral. Mrs. Hamilton's magnificent gesture. Money, pledges needed. I'm sorry, Henry, but that's no sermon for Christmas. Let's see. Suppose you tell them the story of an empty stocking. Once upon a midnight clear, there was a child's cry, a blazing star hanging over a stable, and wise men came with birthday gifts. We've forgotten many things during the centuries, but not that night.
Who did you say is calling, sir?
I'm Dudley Stevens, Bishop Brome's assistant. Would you mind telling Mrs. Hamilton I'm here?
I don't believe she's expecting you, sir.
I'm sure she isn't.
Yes, sir.
I'll wait in the music room.
The music room, sir.
Yes, there's a piano in there. I wonder if she'd mind if I
I'm afraid she would, sir.
Oh, she would, eh? Well, in that event, you'd better hurry up and tell her.
Oh, yes, sir.
Who are you?
Good evening, Mrs. Hamilton.
My butler said you told him you're Bishop Brome's assistant.
That's right, Mrs. Hamilton. The bishop will be along a little later.
That music you were playing.
Oh, I thought you'd recognize it.
There's no one living who knows that composition, except me.
Yes. What a shame that Alan Cartwright died, that only you and I would know his music.
Alan Cartwright died nearly 40 years ago. You couldn't possibly have known him.
I'm much older than you think, Mrs. Hamilton. Now, tell me about him, this Alan Cartwright.
Well, what is there to tell? He was the only man I ever loved. But I was afraid of poverty. He went away and I never saw him again.
And so you married George Hamilton.
I made George happy, I think.
And because you didn't love him, you've spent a fortune honoring his memory since he died.
Yes, a fortune in empty monuments.
Well, they're no more empty than your own life, Mrs. Hamilton. Since you sent the man you loved away, you haven't allowed yourself to love anyone else. You've withdrawn into a shell, a cold and, alas, a selfish woman.
Oh, but what can I do?
Break that shell. Think of what you could do for others. You'll no longer have time to think for yourself. Forgive yourself. Mrs. Hamilton, as Alan Cartwright forgave you long ago.
Oh, do you really think he did?
I know he did.
How do you know about Alan Cartwright?
Oh, well, now that just doesn't matter. Mrs. Hamilton, they're at the front door now. Henry and Julia.
Oh, but I can't see them now.
Oh, yes. Come on. You'll see them. You'll go to the hall and greet them in your usual warm-hearted manner.
You're not leaving.
I'm afraid I have to. I have a great deal of work.
Bishop and Mrs. Brom are here, madam.
Now, don't keep them waiting.
No, I won't.
How do you do, Mrs. Hamilton?
Oh, Julia, how nice. And Henry, Merry Christmas. Henry, I said Merry Christmas.
Oh, yes. Merry Christmas, Mrs. Hamilton.
Why, he's gone. He's gone already.
Gone? Who's gone?
Dudley.
I might have known it.
Where did he go?
Oh, that poor man. He said he had so much work to do. Now, Henry, you must make him take some rest.
I've been trying to make him do just that.
Oh, I can't thank you enough for sending him to me. How did you ever find him, Henry?
More or less by accident, I suppose.
More or less by miracle.
Oh, it was. Talking with this wonderful, understanding man as Henry, I've changed my mind about the cathedral.
You have?
Yes. I'm going to give my money to those who need it, to the poor, the homeless, the unappreciated. I want you to direct the spending of it.
Now, you see what Dudley has done, Henry?
Yes, I do see.
And you understand?
Mrs. Hamilton, Julia, forgive me, but I have to leave. There's someone I must see immediately.
Henry!
Henry, my dear fellow. Sit down, just there. A glass of sherry?
No, thank you, Professor.
Oh, I insist. Henry, you see this bottle? Now watch. I filled 2 glasses, and behold, the bottle is still half full. It's always half full.
Dudley's been here.
Yes, and the bottle isn't all. He told me to look up some ancient texts in the library which no living scholar has ever been able to decipher. I read them as if they were English. Let's face it, Henry, this Dudley fellow is not like the rest of us.
He says he is an angel.
He's an angel from heaven?
That I'm not so sure about.
An angel? Well, that's too damn bad. He's such a nice fellow.
He's brought nothing but disaster to me. He's made Julia despise me.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. Why, you and Julia love each other. You always have.
That's only partly true. I love Julia.
Then why don't you fight for her?
Fight? How can I fight against
You have a tremendous advantage.
Advantage over an angel?
Precisely. He's an angel. Julia's a creature of earth. She's a woman, Henry. And you're a man.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
And if I were you, I'd get myself home.
That's where he'll be, waiting for Julia. Excuse me, Professor, and no, Merry Christmas!
Henry, is that you, dear?
Hello, Julia.
Dudley!
I came to say goodbye. I have to be moving along.
Well, where are you going to be going?
Wherever they send me.
They?
My superior officers.
Will we ever see you again?
They seldom send us to the same place twice, Julia. We might form attachments.
I have no idea what you are talking about.
Of course you don't, Julia. Julia, I don't want to leave.
Why?
There are a few people who know the secret of making heaven here on earth, and Julia, you are one of those rare people.
You frighten me, Dudley. I think you ought to go.
No, Julia, please. Don't send me away.
What are you saying?
I'm tired of being a wanderer. I'm tired of an existence where one is neither hot nor cold, nor hungry, nor full.
No, you must go away and never come back. Don't look at me like that, Dudley. No. Henry!
It's all right, Julia. It's all right. My darling, go upstairs, dear. I'll handle this alone. As for you, I've never had to fight an angel, but I suggest you take off your coat and put up your dukes.
Now, why would you want to fight me, Henry?
Because you're a thief, trying to steal the love that belongs to me.
Henry, do you realize, as an angel, I could quite readily destroy you with a bolt of lightning?
I don't care. Julia means more to me than my life. I am not going to lose her.
Well, then I have news for you. I'm going.
I'll believe that when I see it.
Oh, no, you won't, because when I'm gone, you will never know that an angel visited this house.
And Julia, what about her?
There'll be no memory with her either, or with Debbie or the professor or anyone else.
I do not trust you.
Oh, you may, Henry, because your prayer has been answered.
That is not true. I prayed for a cathedral.
No, you prayed for guidance, and that has been given to you. Oh, I'm being paged. Just a minute. Goodbye, Henry.
Well, if we should need you again, would you come back?
No, not I. I'm requesting an assignment on the other end of the universe.
Is that because I was so difficult?
No, difficulty was in me. When any immortal finds himself envying the mortal trusted to his care, it's a definite sign of danger. Yes, I heard you the first time. Now go upstairs. Take her in your arms, Henry, and kiss her for me, you lucky devil.
Julia!
Quiet, darling. You're going to wake up Debbie.
Are you all right?
Of course I am, Henry. Did you get that for Debbie?
Get what for Debbie?
That little angel there on the bed.
Why, no.
I can't imagine where it came from. Henry, what is it?
Don't know. I have the most inexplicable feeling of happiness.
Why, so do I.
I love you, Julia.
I love you, Henry. Listen, the bells for St. Timothy's.
It's almost midnight.
We're going to have to hurry.
Oh, my sermon. It was all about the cathedral. It'll never do now.
Oh, don't worry, dear. You were going to think of something even better. Merry Christmas, Henry.
Merry Christmas, my darling. Tonight, I want to tell you the story of an empty stocking. Once upon a midnight clear, there was a child's cry. A blazing star hung over a stable, and wise men came with birthday gifts. We've forgotten many things through the centuries, but not that night. We celebrated with stars on Christmas trees, with the sound of bells, and with gifts, especially with gifts. You give me a book, I give you a tie. Aunt Martha's always wanted an orange squeezer Uncle Harry could do with a new pipe. Oh, we forget nobody, adult nor child. All the stockings are filled. All that is, except one. And we've forgotten even to hang it up. The stocking for the child born in the manger. It's his birthday we're celebrating. Don't let us ever forget that. Let us ask ourselves what he would wish for most, and then let each put in his share. Loving kindness, warm heart,
the stretched out hand of tolerance, all the shining gifts to make a peace on earth.
Our live broadcast from Town Hall Seattle of The Bishop's Wife starred Dave Ross, Dory Monson, and Ursula Reutin, and produced and directed by Felix Bedell. Also featured in the cast, Candy Harper, Dan Restione, Tim Hake, Nicole Thompson, Jeanette Warren, Lee Callahan, and Ken Zick. Music directed by Rob Jones. Sound effects designed and performed by Curtis Takahashi. On-site audio engineering was by Dave Campbell for Town Hall, and remote broadcast engineering by Brenna Hutchinson for KIRO. This is your announcer, John Mumbles Maynard, on behalf of the cast and crew of Seattle Radio Theater Town Hall and KIRO Radio. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.